Greetings, Flameborn. The newest update, Thralls of Twilight, is here, and today I'm going to provide 30 useful tips you need to know for this update. This will be useful for new and returning players alike to optimize their progression and save both time and resources. In this video, I'll cover many of the nuances that weren't mentioned in the dev's announcement video, and we'll dive into a variety of topics including the new block locations, how to unlock the shroud armor, night sanctums, gem forges, pack wolves, resource recipe progression, locating the world's most difficult to find resource, the moth. Let's begin. As mentioned in the announcement trailer, this update centers around the shroud and nighttime in general. To maximize your resource collection of resources only available at night, I highly recommend going into your save file settings before playing to adjust the nighttime length. This will provide way more time to collect those new resources and also to open up additional gameplay opportunities, which we'll get through in the rest of the video. If you're a returning player, you may notice upon inspecting your character screen that your backpack has a giant red X marked over it. This is because backpacks now have an extra row of inventory space, and for whatever reason, that couldn't be applied to your existing backpack.
What an epic tale!
So you'll need to craft a new one and equip it to take advantage of the extra storage space and remove the X. Definitely worth it for all the loots. Weapon gem slots are now a thing, providing an extra boost of power to your weaponry, but do not retroactively apply to your existing gear, so you'll need to collect new weapons. Legendary rarity is guaranteed to have gem slots, and lower rarity weapons can have them too, though it is rarer to roll a lower tiered item with the slot. So if you're still progressing through the game, you will still have an opportunity to play around with the gem slots while you search for that elusive legendary item. Upgrading items hasn't changed too much, except in addition to runes, there are now legendary runes. And no, these are not obtained by scrapping legendary items, so don't do that thinking you'll get any. That being said, do scrap your old legendaries that don't have gem slots just for all the extra runes you'll get once you find suitable replacement weapons. To get legendary runes, either defeat tough enemies and bosses or craft them at the blacksmith at a ratio of 25 runes to 1 legendary rune. Unless you have a huge bank of runes, I don't recommend crafting them as it is pricey to do so. It is much better to loot them from fallen enemies. However, if you insist, you can unlock the crafting recipe from looting your first legendary rune. Roaming the world at night is where you'll be spending most of your time in the update, aside from the shroud. And while you're out and about, you are bound to come across pack wolves, which are the typical wolf you've seen throughout your adventures, only with some bags strapped to its back. Kill it, and you'll be rewarded with some nice resources dependent on the biome. And note these locations, as these encounters are seemingly not randomized, and you can revisit the same spots to kill the same pack wolves again and again, which will allow you to farm more refined resources that you'll normally have to craft yourself. Speaking of packs, as you stroll around at night, you'll see plenty more groups of fell monsters outside of the shroud. Engage them and you'll notice a blue glowing spore, which is the fresh sprout spore, and is used in a variety of recipes. This is the only way to get them, so seek out these packs and farm this resource. Another thing you'll have probably noticed upon playing again is all the additional question marks noted on the map. These are a mix of gem forges, shroud layers, and night sanctums. Gem forges is where you'll need to go to place and remove gems from weapons and to upgrade the gems themselves. Shroud layers are where you farm archaic essence, the material required to perform gem upgrades, and the level of the essence is dependent on the region and biome in which they are farmed. And night sanctums, of which there are 16 across the world and contain some unique treasures. Not all 16 sanctums are located on the map at the start, so you'll need to find them yourself. These can be located anywhere, even outside of the shroud, so fully explore the entire world to locate them. I've managed to find a few extra, but am still searching for the rest. Upon finding them and traversing the simple puzzles, you can find some unique gear like these cosmetics that open up quest lines to find the remaining pieces. It doesn't provide you the location of the remaining sanctums, but it does let you know how many there are within a given biome. The location of gem forges determines the level cap to which any gem can be upgraded with higher level biomes and regions, providing a higher cap up to level 40 in the harder regions of the Albanese summits. As you get to those more difficult regions, the same gems can drop at higher levels. So instead of investing all your resources into leveling that level 7 gem you found early on, all the way up to level 40, wait until you find a higher level version of that same gem and level that to max, which will save a bunch of time in archaic essence farming. Gem forges can be found both independent or within night sanctums. If you can help it, avoid using the forges within night sanctums, as night sanctums in harder biomes require 1 spark to enter. This will keep the door unlocked, but as soon as the server restarts or if playing single player, as soon as you exit and re-enter the game, the door is locked again, requiring you to pay another spark. If you are seeking out a forge purely for upgrades, go to a gem forge located outside of a Knight Sanctum to avoid paying the spark, which can be better spent on your progression if you are not already at the current endgame. While shroud layers are the best source of farming archaic essence for gem upgrades, you can actually find them in smaller quantities outside of layers by locating fell monster spawners and destroying them. They'll lead to an inner cavern with a small grouping of enemies and essence that can be mined. They'll be much smaller in scale compared to the layers, but every little bit adds up. Located within the shroud, you'll find these blue glowing circular objects. Upon approaching one, you'll be presented the opportunity to offer up a shroud core or a shroud nexus at higher levels to summon a fell monster boss. The boss spawns are random, so revisiting the same location multiple times will lead to different boss encounters, and thus the different loot drops that each provides. This can be a great way to farm up boss-specific loot drops, and actually it is possible to come out with a net gain of shroud cores or shroud nexus depending on your world loot settings. On default loot settings, however, you'll break even. That being said, it effectively costs nothing and is pure gain. Finding these is actually a great way to obtain the new shroud armor for all armor archetypes. Simply kill a fell monstrosity and loot the monstrous ribs item, which will automatically unlock all the crafting recipes for all the shroud armor. Naturally, any fell monstrosity encounter will work, so if you happen to come across one regularly, that is sufficient. Unfortunately, the shroud armor is only level 16, so if you are already maxed out, the armor itself gives little benefit. However, you can still wear it as a cosmetic if you're rocking endgame gear already. There are two new building blocks, one roofing block in this update. Here's how to get them. For the desert shingle roof, head on over to the Sapphire Strand just west of Kindlewaste Ancient Spire. Locate the broken bridge that splits the little town in half, and on top of one of the roofs by the entrance is a silver chest containing the block. That location will be roughly about here on the world map. You'll find the Midnight Tomb block in the Albanese summits just east of the Balefire Lance Point in a hidden tomb. Upon reaching the snowy mountainous terrain behind the Balefire, locate this exact spot on the map, which is the location of the tomb you'll need to enter. Work your way through the catacombs and lay waste to all the spiders in your way until you come across a golden coffin containing the block. The Starlight block, in my opinion, is the best block introduced in this update. Just my humble opinion. And this one is also located in the Albanese summits, this time within a Knight Sanctum located just northeast of Balefire Garrison Skillfrost. This is one of the Knight Sanctum locations that isn't marked on your map as a question mark upon booting up the game after the update, so note the location on my world map. Offer up a spark, and once inside, finding it is pretty trivial. At the first T intersection, doesn't matter which direction you take, as both paths create a giant loop. I chose the right path, but again, you can go left as well. Here is sped up gameplay of the path I took to reach the block within the silver chest. Introduced in this update is a great new feature. Open any crafting menu, station, craftsperson, and you'll quickly notice that many resources listed under each recipe now give a short description of where to find them. It will tell you which biome, whether it needs to be found in the shroud or at nighttime, or if it is a craftable resource and from which production station. There are two new spells in the game. The Shroud Beam Channel, which is unlocked upon looting an enshrouded Cyclops eye from the corpse of a freshly defeated fell Cyclops, and the Heal Beam Channel, which can be unlocked by finding a fell heart from a Kindle Waste fell monster mob. All biomes except for the Kindle Waste, which has sand, now have biome-specific dirt, which can be used in different recipes. Save for the Albanese Summit dirt, which doesn't appear to have any unlockable recipe from what I could tell. Harvesting enshrouded ice in the Albanese Summit shroud unlocks Shroud Vapor, which is used in a variety of late-game recipes. Critter Carapace, which is looted from those annoying critters found in the shroud in the higher-level biomes only, will unlock the Flayer Seedling recipe, which provides Shroud Adhesive, a new resource that is again used in a variety of recipes. You can normally loot this adhesive from from a new shroud enemy, but it is better to grow them yourself and then slaughter them for pure profit. Despite the trailer indicating the need for shroud-infused soil to grow them, that isn't the case. You can plant them anywhere, though they do in fact grow incredibly fast in the shroud-infused soil. That being said, it is only marginally faster than if planted in normal fertilized soil, so don't feel the need to plant them in the new soil type. It should also be mentioned that while the flare seedling can grow anywhere, the reverse isn't true. Normal seedlings cannot be planted in the shroud-infused soil. It really only has the one purpose for now. And as I just mentioned, it isn't even a requirement to grow the flare seedlings. Curses have been added to the game. Getting poisoned too much can lead to the hemotoxin effect, or taking shroud damage can cause the spell curse. Deaths will not remove these status effects and can only be cured by crafting a specific antidote. Hemotoxin in particular requires moths to concoct the antidote, which according to the in-game description can be found in Revelwood at night. In theory at least. At time of recording, they were exceedingly hard to find. Unlike the other nighttime only resources, moths were the only one I couldn't find after roaming around a biome for a few minutes. In fact, it took me a couple hours to find some in the Black Mire region, and only in this one spot near the ancient spire. Nowhere else. I think something is wrong with their spawning, but for now, note this location and use it to farm the only source of moths I have been able to find. All of that being said, you can disable curses in the world settings before playing if you want to completely avoid this mechanic, especially while moths are so painful to find. During your time in the shroud, you'll also come across this new floating squid enemy that shoots out projectiles. If you are a ranged build, simply melt it down with your arrows or magic. However, for melee, you can still defeat it rather easily by parrying the projectile. And whatever you do, under no circumstances go directly underneath it or pay the painful consequences. Well, I hope all of this information will get you all up to speed on the current update and how to properly progress, unlock new recipes, and find the new stuff contained within the update. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like as it helps us out more than anything else. And don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on the next video. Last but not least, I want to shout out our wonderful Patreon community whose generosity powers our channel. Thank you all so much. On that note, this is Eerie Knight signing off. See you all in the next one.